Do you want to go hiking but no one wants to come with you and now you don't know what to do because you're too scared to go hiking alone? Well, I've been there too. But a few weeks ago, I have decided to face my fears and enter the mountains all alone. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you how it all went and how you can do the same. So let's get into it. So firstly, let's look at how my attempt went down. Let me tell you, I was insanely scared from the beginning. I have planned the trip the day before it happened, and the night before planning it and going on it was a very, very sleepless night. I could not fall asleep because I was so scared of what is ahead of me. And I have convinced myself that I'm not going on the road I have planned, that I'm actually going to a road I know and that is much shorter and is tourist hotspot. And why I didn't want to use the trail I have prepared, because it was lonely, 16-kilometer hike, and it was quite known area for bears and wolves appearing there. But when I entered the bus that was driving me to the train station, I completely switched. And I was like, boy, you have been preparing this trail the whole evening. You are trying it. And so when I entered the train station, I took a different train. Instead of Ostravice and climbing the Beskids' highest mountain, Lisa Hora, I took a train from Ostrava to Navsi. From there, I found a trail mark and just followed it. And at first, it was quite nice. There were still some people, so it was comfortable to walk around there, but it was not too many people. So it was still not overwhelming. Also, I caught a quite good weather. The sun was shining, there were only a few clouds, and the environment was also quite amazing because there were sheep and other farm animals everywhere. And I also had a quite good reception, so I could FaceTime for some time with my cousin. But then, after approximately 8 kilometers, the ghost of loneliness started to creep up on me. I think the moment when it all started was when I climbed one hill. It was not that densely visited. I have not met any people for like 20 minutes and it was pretty nice view. And at that moment I have figured that I don't have anyone except the camera to share it with, and that made me a bit sad. But the other thing I have realized, except for not being able to share the view with anyone, is that I don't even have anyone to protect me if anything tried to hurt me. And this fear was getting stronger and stronger with every meter I took. And I tried to put it away. I was trying to think about things that are beautiful out there, and there were many, like the flowers, the trees, the views. It was gorgeous. But I always went back to the thought of not being to share it with anybody. And it only reminded me more and more that I'm alone. And so I tried the thing that I do all the time and that always helps me to stay cheerful and happy: singing. Guys, I'm not a trained singer. I only do it because I just feel like to, and I just love the act of singing. It just helps me to stay happy and it really makes me happy. And at these moments when I'm the most scared, this is my natural defense mechanism. And so I started singing. And it was quite good actually. As always, it helped me to just get back on track and stop being scared. But every song has its quiet moments when there is no one singing and there's just the melody. And in these moments, again, I could really, really sense the quietness around me. And I could just hear those sounds coming from the woods around me so clearly. And then there was the last straw. I saw an adder. I was walking around in one of those moments that I was a bit scared, and I was thinking that I should be prepared if I ran into a wolf or a bear, and just be aware of my surroundings. And I was looking around me, and for a single moment I have not thought about the fact that I should be more considerate about snakes than the big scary animals. And yeah, I almost stepped on one, and it was the only poisonous snake that there is in this country. How lucky am I? My dad said that from the photo it was a small snake and I should have been more scared from the snake mother that was probably somewhere around and that she was much bigger and much scarier. But even this little one got me panicking, and suddenly I have realized that I was not at all in control of the situation. Because if I'm looking out for one type of danger, the other one could easily sneak in. So at that point, I just lost it. I just started walking much faster and just wanted to get out of there. Because luckily, when I was planning the trail the day earlier, I have planned to get into a village after the 12th, 10th kilometer, and at that moment I was like, God, I have to go to a village before getting back to the woods. That's gonna be so annoying. I was so grateful that the village was there. When I entered it and saw the strangers that were living there, I felt so happy. I felt so grateful. I don't know if I remember a moment where I saw strangers on street and thought that I'm happy to see them. And from there, it was just a piece of cake. I went on a hill that at first looked scary and lonely, but when I reached the top, I have figured that all the way around me are fields of blueberries and that there are people everywhere picking them. So I was really feeling like on some square in a town, so that was quite relieving. And from there I just quickly walked to a train station where there was already a train waiting for me, and I got back to Ostrava. Now, as you may have heard, this was quite a strong experience and many times quite a scary experience. And so I thought about it, and I have gathered 5 tips that I took from this experience or am planning to implement in the other solo hikes that I'm planning to do to make them a bit more comfortable and a bit less scary. And you should definitely try these tips too. By the way, if you've watched this far into the video, comment this emoji. Firstly, choose a shorter distance. I have noticed that the fear started to creep in after 10th kilometer or 8th kilometer. So I think that if I chose a shorter distance, it wouldn't have seemed that long and it would actually seem easier and I would not get this scared, because I was also kind of scared that I would be just walking for so long alone, and just the distance also made it much scarier than it probably would have been. Also, make sure that the distance you're choosing is safe for you to hike alone, because while hiking alone, it is much harder to call for help if anything bad happens, because you're on your own. So just remember that. Second, take a power bank with you. This was the one thought that always kind of reassured me when I was scared, when I was panicking, when I was not knowing what to do. I always thought that I have a power bank in my backpack and that at any circumstances my phone will not run out of power and I will not lose connection with the world. And call me a phone addict, but this really helped. Thirdly, choose a place that is frequently visited. And don't do the mistake I have made, that you will go for first hike into a super lonely forest. Look, I know it may look intriguing because when you're hiking with other people, you actually may like being alone in the forest. I personally do like that. But when you're hiking alone, you may like the opposite, just being around strangers, because you feel like if anything happened, they could be there for you. And also that if there's a lot of people, animals won't try to visit. And so I think you have 2 great options. Firstly, if you still want to go to the mountains, choose a tourist hotspot. I know that tourist hotspots are terrible for the environment and for the nature and animals and everyone except people, but in these cases they probably are what we're looking for. Places that are in nature but are still frequently visited by all sorts of people, and so you don't feel that alone. I think that this would have definitely been much more comfortable for me, and I probably wouldn't get scared if I walked, for example, to the Lisa Hora, to the mountain that I was talking about in the beginning. And secondly, the easiest option if you just want to get to know yourself and try just the concept of hiking or walking alone is to just get a bus or train or whatever and ride to some village on the outskirts of your town and just do a longer, for example, 20-kilometer walk and just walk around those villages. The best would be that if you did not know the villages, so you still would be walking in place that you don't know, but you know is safe. So you won't get scared, but you will get to know the feeling of being alone in a place that is not really familiar to you. But I have already done this, so I think for me the hotspot would be the ideal option. Fourth, do everything you can to make yourself comfortable. I know that we should be quiet in forests, that we should give the space for the animals, but when we happen to be in a situation where we just feel incredibly scared and are starting to panic, we gotta calm ourselves first. And so I think that in these situations, it is a bit appropriate to just start singing in the forest, or just call someone on the phone, or just do something that'll make yourself comfortable. I, as I said earlier, love calling people because it just makes me feel that there's somebody with me, and also I always laugh when I call with people, so it just naturally makes me happier. And lastly, remember that you can do this. When I was in those hardest moments, when I was super scared, where I did not know what to do, when I was panicking, I have always remembered that all those famous hikers, all those adults, even my parents, all of them were young as me, were in the mountains alone for the first time, and it was not a piece of cake for them back then. But they all had to face their fears, and they all just had to go to the forest and build their confidence. And we must do the same. So just remember that you can push through and that you can do this. I hope that these tips were useful for you and that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you're interested in hiking, watch this video where I'm sharing my experience with hiking Monte Cinto, Corsica's highest mountain. See you on Monday.